We're still working on all those patterns we don't want to talk about. Let's just get into it for the week beginning October 22nd, 2018. Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is our weekly angelic message for the week beginning October 22nd, 2018. If you would like to get a personal reading with me, just go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services tab. Please make sure that you read all instructions and that you are very, very clear on what you're getting before you purchase. Also, please make sure that if you do not have your reading by day 21, okay, that means something has happened. There's been some sort of miscommunication. I've never missed a deadline ever, no matter what, on a reading. So if you don't have it, contact me immediately. Please do not wait. With all these privacy laws in effect, I may have already erased your reading, and if it's gone, it's gone. Okay, so just be aware of that. Also, I have all the November 2018 readings over at Gumroad. There's a whole bunch of different things over there, so get on over there and check it out. I'll leave the link down below. And thank you for everybody who is supporting me on Patreon. If you'd like to support me on Patreon as well, again, you guessed it, the information is down below. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Political upheaval. Remember or realize that this is of human staging. So again, we're constantly being called out by our spiritual teams to stop giving in. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't get upset about things. It doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion about things, but we are really getting out of control. I just had a discussion actually about this with someone this morning where, you know, we go so far to try to correct the wrongs in the world that we start stepping on everybody else, and some of our basic rights start getting invaded. And we just have to look at this. We have to look at, you know, what kind of price are we trying to pay and for what, right? To be right or wrong. And that's what they even say. If you are angry, acknowledge why and do not merely settle on the surface. Do you need to be right? Do you need to deflect? So what they're saying is that often we humans, and we're going to see a lot of political upheaval, coming in. Well, that's a constant, I feel. So nothing new. We're not, it's not breaking news or anything like that. But we have to really take a check on why we're getting so aggravated about certain things. And every single one of us has trigger buttons. There are things that really get us riled, but there's a deeper thing going on, and we're being asked as individuals to look at that and go deeper and to be honest and to just be honest, okay? Each of you must evaluate your behavior. So no more of this projecting onto other people. Start looking at yourself. Start looking at what you're doing as well. So let me reread that. Each of you must evaluate your behaviors, your habits. Work to feel your instincts without magical thinking wrapped around it. Let the messages be as they are, not as you wish them to be. And then they tell me to explain. So I hear this a lot from people. They'll come to me and they'll say, okay, I got this message from my angels. They were saying X, Y, and Z, and I just knew that it meant this. And then when the story plays out in a very, very different way, they're utterly shocked. And what's interesting to me is that there are a lot of people out there who don't understand how energy works. I deal with that in my work. You know what I mean? People coming to me and expecting me to guess their name and wanting this psychic reading kind of thing. It's still there. People are still doing that. And they don't understand that, let's say someone gets a premonition about something and they put it out there and they say, okay, well, I have this funny feeling around this, okay? And if they bring it up and everybody starts praying around that, we can actually make things not happen. I've said that before in previous videos. And then when it doesn't come to pass, people want to go back to the person who had a premonition about it, and they'll, oh, see, you were wrong. You're never accurate. You didn't hit it, you know? And that's what they're talking about. Do you need to be right? Do you need others to be right before you feel okay in your own skin? So we really need to start taking a deeper look at that and getting empowered. And what they're talking about with taking a message and putting magical thinking around it. Guys, I used to do this myself. I used to be super guilty of this. And I'd be like, oh, I know that it's meant to be X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. Well, the universe can see a lot more than you can. So you might want to give a little room for the universe to show you what's possible. So when we're manifesting, when we're getting messages about something, try not to run away with it and trying to put a logistical story around it, because the way it could play out could be completely different from anything you've ever imagined because you've never experienced it. So you are coming from a we all are coming from a very limited perspective because we're only living this one life, right? Well, consciously, we're only living this one life. We're probably vibrating in many different places at once. But as far as this coming week and the energy, really allow yourself to not try to jump to conclusions about what kind of messages you feel you're getting. Okay, does that make any sense? All right, so let's keep going here. Calm connections now. Too much emphasis on belonging or not belonging. Truly, your peace is somewhere in the middle. Think upon this. With all love, angels of God's love and God's light. So again, I was having a discussion with somebody about this, and I was saying how diminished, being on a solitary path can sometimes be. And I hear people constantly asking, who's my tribe? Or telling me I'm looking for my tribe. And I feel, just again, my experience with the spiritual community, it's one of those traps. And some people, okay, hang with me here. Don't get all mad and click off just yet. Because some people get really riled and they get really feisty about that. And they're like, how dare you say such a thing? What I'm getting at would be the people who feel like they have to be a part of a group or their lives are not valuable, okay? That might get into a different kind of pattern of needing validation or needing to take on an identity as defined by somebody else so that you feel whole and complete within yourself. This is not healthy, okay? And as I was having that discussion with somebody else, and I've said this before in videos, it's like Jesus in the desert, yes? Going through the temptations, learning about yourself. It's not as if, I guess the jury's still out on what Jesus actually went through, but if we could think of, it's okay to be on your own if you need to be. It's far better to do that and look at yourself and do some self-realization and do some work on yourself rather than being in codependent relationships or, in more drastic situations, people allowing themselves to be in abusive situations, whether they're from friends who are just taking advantage of you or constantly diminishing you, or if it's a love partner that's not really what you're looking for in this life, but you don't know what you're looking for because you never spend any time alone, right? So it's a whole message of you got to get to know you. And yeah, you're going to go through the trials and tribulations. You're going to have, the public shame you. I went to a doctor and was sort of solo shamed. I explained that on Facebook. You're going to have those moments, but this is also a lesson in caring less and less about other people's opinions of you. Does that make sense? So let's not overcorrect, because somebody's going to leave a comment and be like, yeah, but we grow through our relationships. Yes, that's true. But you need to make sure that you have a relationship with yourself, yes. And you also need to make sure that your mind is open, your eyes are open to what kind of relationship you're in. What is the lesson, right? And we can go on and on and on about that, but we'll leave it there because I think that that's good enough. And we're just going to get onto the cards and see if we can get more in depth with this message. All right, so let's see what's going on for the week of October 22nd, 2018. Okay, these cards, there's a lot of stuck energy, a lot of resistance. I can't even get these things to stay in my hands, and they're not wanting to shuffle. So when I have that kind of feeling, remember, I'm tuning into a lot of different energy here, and I feel like it's getting a little stuck. So what is the stuckness? I thought I had life figured out. I thought if I got on my spiritual, I almost dropped the whole deck. I thought if I got onto a spiritual path that would be my cure. I thought if I'm suspicious of other people and I try to find what's wrong with them, then I'm in on the cosmic joke. Okay, this one I feel like wants to come out. letting go. We got to let go of all of that. All of this, you know, people are out to get me kind of stuff, or, yeah, mostly, and I know this is not popular, but I say it all the time. This is mostly that feeling of, again, as I said, you know, I'm on a spiritual path now. That should have cured me. That should have made everything good. Yeah, selenite just came up, spiritual awakening. So it's about a true spiritual awakening. Clarity on that. Archangel Michael's coming in and giving it to you real, okay? We'll get into it here in just a second. And then relationship healing. Yeah, boy, this is healing that relationship with yourself, finding that self-love, you know, fulfilling your own potential. But got to let go of this whole thing of, I've got life right. I have this belief system, therefore I live life right. I believe in this deity, therefore I've got life right. Oh, careful, careful, careful. There's a reason why you can't say that stuff at a party and not have a fight, right? And even as they said before, with the political upheavals, you know, this is another thing that people just, they want to choose sides all the time. And we're supposed to be having calm connection. Remember? All right. So you have to see how it works out for you as individuals. Let's see what the color card is. Dun, 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 dun. Indigo, improve your vision. The number is 40, so improve your perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, get into the real message, not what you're trying to contrive it to be. Boom. Let me go back. Now I gotta go back and put everything in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Kyanite blue, letting go. I do not know why this is called kyanite blue. I just know of it as blue kyanite. So the idea with blue kyanite is that when you hold it, it completely, immediately just goes and just cleans out all your chakras. Okay, pretty cool, right? Not a bad little thing to have around. But the message here is let go of what you think you know. Let go of your old perceptions, because the world is not what it once was. It never, you know, it changes decade by decade, of course, but we're in this even bigger time of not being the same DNA creatures, okay? Of more what we call light workers. You know, that term has gotten a little played out maybe, but you know, people who come here with some special purpose, and I'm one of those people. And we, you know, not that we're better than anybody else, it's just this is what we're here to do. Hello. And it can feel very isolating, and I feel like maybe that's part of why that message was coming up. It's okay if you don't feel like you fit in. You don't want to go so far as to be the rebel and like trying to find any reason why you shouldn't fit in because you're judging everybody else and you don't want to be like them. That's no good, you know. But if you need to be on this solitary path, as long as you understand yourself and you're just living your life and you're just being in your state of joy as much as you can. And if you're not in your state of joy, find it, okay? You can work with Archangel Haniel to help you with that. But striving for peace, that inner peace, you hear it all the time. It's really cliche, but boom, that's why, okay? Get into the space of letting go of all the petty stuff, yes? And, you know, as I say that, I'm still human, so I still have human language, right? I don't mean to diminish what people are going through, but there are bigger things to think upon and to put your energy into, okay? This is a lot of self-evaluation. So for some of you, if you don't feel like, you know, like you're not in alignment with how best you can use your energy, work on the relationship with self first. That's imperative. If you don't, you will not find, as we see here, the clarity. You're not going to get the clarity on what you're supposed to be doing, okay? And you're not going to be on that path. Path is really extensive, and I can't certainly, you know, tell everybody what their path is here. That's why I offer personal readings, so I can, you know, tune into people's energy. But as I say, this is evaluating what you want to do and how you want to spend your time. And I've been saying, you know, I guess I say it a lot now, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be offering personal readings. I don't know, because I never know what's around the corner. I don't know what kind of creature yet I'm evolving into, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions about, oh, I'm a messenger, here's my label, therefore I'm going to bend over backwards, and I'm, you know, even if I'm getting sick or even if whatever, stuff's falling apart in my own life, I'm going to make sure I'm a messenger. You're not a better person if you self-sacrifice in that way. It's called being a martyr. And people are going to call you out on it because they're not going to like it, okay? That martyr mentality. So let go of all that. Let go of this whole idea of this is what spirituality is. This is what path means. This is what true love is. This is what a twin flame is, you know, like this is how love should go. This is soulmate relationship, because I feel like there's a whole bunch of new information coming in. And here we go. So we have selenite, spiritual awakening. Sorry, I'm going to have to edit that out. I'm stumbling over my words again this week. That happens. I'm trying to do this work. I'm hearing messages. I'm trying to get them out fast and before I lose them. And sometimes it doesn't go well. But anyway, here we go. So selenite, spiritual awakening. And as we were saying, this is, letting go of what you think you know. I've said that before, and we're still there. We're still just spinning our wheels, trying to be right. And they're saying, no. You're going to be getting new information in. Something's going to become very, very apparent, I think, to all of us. And we're going to realize, okay, that's what that means. All right. So remember they said, focus on your instincts this week. And it's interesting, then we have indigo, which is your intuition, right? So they're really wanting you to let things be as they actually are, not as how the ego, I would say, is trying to twist it and make it a nice, neat little story. You know what I'm saying? To put it all together so you feel better about it, so you feel more complete. We're expanding beyond this human, our typical human consciousness. There's something big happening. It could unfold in the next several years. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen just in this week. But there are new kinds of spiritual awakenings happening. Don't get clamped down. Don't limit yourself. Okay? And here we go. We have tanzanite. So this is Archangel Michael kind of energy, the clarity. So it's going to make sense, but in a whole new kind of special way, I want to say. And it's from your instincts. It's from your gut, where you're like, okay, I don't have a point of reference for what all this means, but that's okay. I don't have to put it all together right now. This is clarity of who you really are. This is clarity of who you're becoming. This could be for some of you clarity on what your habits are, as we said in the auto, right? And why they came to be, right? And when you have that kind of discovery, you can start working through it. You can start healing, right? So then we have the morganite here, the relationship healing. So this is healing that relationship with yourself, healing the relationship with others, because we might have clarity on how judgmental we are, or how often we do something because it's, current convention to be on this side of the argument because it makes me look like I'm a really hip, open-minded person. But really, you're being unfair to others. You're not having that true soul consideration for everyone, for yourself and for everyone. Yes? So this is the kind of week I feel like if you are in a bad partnership and you want to blame everybody else, you're in a bad friendship and you want to point the finger, it's very, very easy to do that. I've done it myself. I still find myself doing it. But, have your little moment, as I always say, but then come on back in and ask, okay, but how did I get here? What's my part in this? What happened for my perspective to be this way? It's self-examination, okay? And also listening to your instincts. So again, we have this indigo card, improve your vision. The number is 40. Tap into that higher wisdom, guys, and trust your instincts on things. This also, they're giving me the message that, sometimes people want to be on their own, right? Because, there can be a little sense of loneliness around that from time to time. But, your intuition is telling you, maybe I need some time on my own. Or your intuition is telling you, you know what, it's time to get on out there and, have some more grounded, real, loyal connections with others. Not just trying to, get with a group because they say they're spiritual, therefore they're my tribe. Oh, you are in big trouble. You're so leaving yourself open for people to take advantage of you, okay? And I won't go too deep into that because it'll freak some people out. But, there are some how do I want to say? Some people who kind of deny their soul. They're not soulless, but they sort of deny their soul. And then they leave themselves wide open for sort of lower frequency energies to work through them. And then they go around siphoning off of everybody else's light, taking advantage, controlling, and whatever. And guess what, guys? They tend to end up in the spiritual community or, like as your church leaders sometimes, or let's just say clergymen, there are those types that can end up in that place. And I know that's why I was kind of hesitating to say anything, because people get very defensive about that. If you're getting defensive, you're already gone. You're already gone. You already drank the Kool-Aid. So careful. I'm not putting religion down. Don't twist my words. I'm not putting religion down. I'm just saying that we need to be careful so that we don't leave ourselves open in case one of those people happen to infiltrate into a place where we're trying to connect with God, whatever that place might be for you, and they're posing, right? So there's that. What else, guys? There's a lot of stuff coming through. I just want to get this here for a second. Authenticate. They are talking about personal relationships. So you got to get real. You know, I got to get real. We all got to get real about what we're doing and how we interact with one another. And let's go back to that message when we were talking about sometimes you just want to be alone. I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, oh, that's kind of, sad. I'm going to be here all by myself for this one holiday, but that's okay. I usually make the best of it. And then I started thinking about July 4th. July 4th came up. And I remember, when I first moved here, I started making friends. I had to get out of those relationships because I started to discover, I got to know them and I started to discover what was going on there and I got out of it. But I remember when I did have a lot of people in my life was sort of dictated by what they wanted to do. And in this particular example and in this particular dynamic, because I was the single one with no kids, my life was more diminished. And so I was expected to drop everything and go work around the married women with kids. No offense, but that's how I was very, my lifestyle was diminished and oh, your life is easy. You should come and, do what we want. So I would end up going off, leaving what I want to do to go off and spend time with them. And like I said, I felt like my time was being dictated by other people. And next thing you know, I'm not sitting in a place that I want to be on July 4th looking at fireworks. I had to drive, in this one particular example, I had to drive about 45 minutes out into the mountains to sit in this abandoned parking lot with a couple of other people where we couldn't even see the fireworks. If I had just been home, I don't know if I was living in this apartment at that point, but from this apartment that I live in right now, I have the most spectacular view, right, of all the fireworks going on across the city. So even though right now, or at least this past July 4th, I was by myself, I was sitting on my balcony, had a good margarita, I got to see everything, right? And it actually ended up being a better experience. So what I'm getting at, and the reason why I'm giving that example is society will tell you you have to be with somebody. Oh, you've lived here how long and you don't have anybody to pick you up from a medical procedure? Give me a break, okay? I enjoyed my July 4th a lot better. Even though I was by myself, I enjoyed it better because I had control over what I was doing and I had freedom. I had freedom to do what I felt connected to, okay? So in this coming week, ask yourself, how often do I allow myself to get controlled by somebody else because they think their lifestyle is more valuable than mine or they're busier than anybody else? You know what I'm saying? It's so diminishing to say, oh, well, in my case, I have a family. Therefore, I'm busier than you. But they don't own their own business, right? They don't do their own bookkeeping. They don't, they have a husband that, might maybe get up and help clean. I do my own laundry. There's nobody I can fight with to do that. Who's going to do it but me, right? So we just want to be respectful of everybody's circumstances and, ask yourself, am I doing this just because I want somebody? Or does this truly make me happy? And everything that you do from this moment forward, you have to do it because it truly makes you happy, because you want to be there. And so there's a message here of healthy boundaries and not being afraid to say no. All right? Let's leave it there. I'm sending you so much love and take care.